What we will cover here is high-level thinking, what is approach on that, then black boxes approach, how you should structure your whole system. Where does the automated QA come into this story? How important the tech stack now becomes. Long story short, very important. And what this means for startup strategy in general. High-level thinking. This is now the only thinking that is left. So we need to be architects of the system. We need to consider the whole system, holistic system, all aspects of it, and then produce beautiful spec based on that. That's our job, produce beautiful spec. Why? I always say like seniors and technical founders benefit the most because they are actually used to this. This is their job, like seniors, tech leads, stuff like that, roles like that. This is most of their job. More often than not now, it is kind of less time to do it than to explain it to someone. You could explain it to AI and it takes 1 minute to finish the job. You could need to explain to someone, and that someone might do it today and the day after that, and so on. So if you can do it yourself, you will get the most benefit. How my day looks now is I spend most of my day just thinking, just thinking, planning, sketching diagrams, and so on. This is what I do most of the time. We said 5-to-1 ratio when the thing is fully specced. But I'm usually the one speccing it and building it, so I get that 5-to-1 ratio on the things I specced. But speccing still, kind of takes the same time. I need to ponder and think about all the aspects of the architecture, all the aspects of the product, if I'm also running the product. Most of my day now is thinking. Black boxes approach. So you will see various shapes and forms of this approach mentioned in the various books. I just call it like black boxes. I want to simplify it. I don't want to make things complicated. Your job as an architect, as a senior, as an engineer on the project, is to split the system into a tree of black boxes. So for each black box, you need to define interfaces, and they need to have separated concerns. If you do that right, so that these boxes are interlinked, some are branches, some are leaves, and so on. Connecting them and putting them together is your job. What is not your job now is editing those boxes or writing any code in those boxes if the box size is right. So if it can fit in one context size of an LLM, then AI can do all the job there. You just give it, English, and usually, very, very usually, it does a really, really, really good job. It can write the code, but you need to review it and understand it, and need to know exactly what each block does and how. I hope you already had automated QA, but if you didn't, now is the best time to add it. This now becomes a big part of the strategy. Why? Well, we will achieve higher velocity, and then usually higher velocity is related to higher risk. This is our only antidote, and if you're running like big production, you should be, and you have a lot of users, you really should have really high coverage with automated tests. Obviously, you should deploy to some certain percent of users first and stuff like that. But this is your biggest line of defense of the bad things that can happen, and they can. You're going if you're going 2, 3, 5 times faster, chances of bad things happening are higher. Test-driven development now becomes much easier. As always with test-driven, you have to know exactly what you're building, which is not often the case with startups, so you might want to do it or not. Tech stack choice was an important choice even before, but now it becomes super, super strategic choice, because you can guess what the models were trained on. They were trained on the languages that had the most examples, and the ones that were the most popular had the most examples. So I can predict consolidation, there, because it's, just a loop that continues. I would say if it's not absolutely necessary, just go with the most popular choice that can fulfill your requirements. Don't go with some, derivatives of languages and experimental languages and stuff like that. I mean, I advised people against it before, but now I advise against it like really, really strongly. The cool thing is that it can work, it can work with less popular tech stacks, but you will just create problems for yourselves that are really unnecessary unless you really, really have to go with that tech stack. So the startup strategy, what does this mean for the startup strategy? Well, I think this changes everything. Completely changes stuff. It might take a few months or a year for everybody to realize what's going on, for VCs to change their game, but I think everything will change. I think now MVPs will be easy, and throwaway code will be easy, experiments will be easy. So getting to product market fit should be much, much, much easier if you have run a small team. Ideally, like it's only one person new. I don't think no longer you should be go raising without any revenue, and I don't think VCs should be giving you money without any revenue. That trend is decreasing, but I think it will go to zero, especially when VCs realize like it's easy to prove some products. I also think, I'm not the first one to predict this, but we will see $1 billion companies that have like 5 employees, 10 employees, maybe 2 or 3 employees, and so on, just because of the leverage that this gives you. We talked about this a bit before. A lot of the times now, it is easier to do it than to delegate. Before you're a manager, you have to delegate everything, so on. You like be Teflon or something. Especially like in the areas like you delegate it to someone and they have questions and they go back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. A lot of the times in startups, this is exactly the case. It's just kind of easier to do it yourself. Steroids for tech founders, I think they will benefit the most. The people are the most rounded, that have like product management skills, product marketing skills. They can be architects and stuff like that. I think they will be boosted the most. If you're not a technical founder, you really need to find one technical superstar, and then 2 of you should be able to get 100,000 to 500,000 ARR before talking to any investors. Don't waste time on like slides and pitches of your idea that doesn't work. Go make revenue. Don't waste time on grants and shitty stuff like that. Focus on the product. Focus on the product market fit. Build it, make revenue, and then go raise, and it will be great.